Alright, here we go.
The new map, you guys, it's so cool!
So the new map just dropped. It's Pearl on Valorant. It's pretty cool. I like it. It's got, I don't know, it's got an interesting aesthetic. It's like if BioShock was more cartoony, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So in terms of like the map's layout, I would say the neat thing about going to A is that when you take that long way around the corner, there's that box there on the corner of the elbow. It really does make it so that you can take cover, cut in short, or cut out long. That's kind of neat. I like that. I like that you can kind of take cover. I like that you can be looking around. I like that you can completely drop the ball like I do when I play it. You know, just stuff like that. So far, I've had a lot of fun playing it. It's not like whenever Breeze first came out and I just was having so much trouble with like mid because the range was so long. You know what I mean? Because Breeze is such a long range map, especially at certain points whenever they stand on the bridge in the back of sight and you're hiding between pyramids and they can snipe you from there. I feel like this is just slightly more closed in. When I first played it, I also, like the first time I ever played Pearl, I noticed that we could not lose on attacking round. We could not lose. I think we lost 2 attack rounds on Pearl. And we were stacking wins, and then we switched over to defense after the first 12 rounds, and then immediately after that we could not get a win to save our life. We got a couple wins, and then we ended up getting beat on defense. So I thought, okay, so maybe what Riot wanted to do, it feels like most of the maps when you're playing defense, you're just a little better off. The only advantage that offense has over defense, the attackers have over defenders, is that if you 5-stack and you go in and rush and you get some good kills when you do your entry frag, usually they have to retake and there's a numbers disadvantage. So I thought what Riot wanted to do was make it so that the attackers had even more advantage for some reason, because I feel like most maps are defensive based. For example, I feel like, especially with Ascent and Icebox, if your entry frag doesn't get on very well, if you lose somebody on entry, it can be really hard, and the whole while the other team's closing in pretty fast. I feel like this map is expansive enough on the back end and through mid. It's got a lot of winding turns, kind of like a little bit of a maze, and it makes it just a little bit harder to rush in. That might be because the geography of the map hasn't fully sunk into my brain yet. That's entirely possible. Because, it's just one of those things where, it's a new map. You're not going to play it perfectly the first time. I think a lot of people complain about new maps, and I've noticed that when I'm playing Valorant, people always complain about the newest map. Like, people complain mostly about Fracture, but people before Fracture complained about Breeze. But I don't have a problem with Fracture, or Breeze at this point, or Icebox, or Ascent, or Bind, or Haven. I really don't. I think they're all decent. I think the map design's really good on this game in general. They put a lot of thought into these maps. I lost my train of thought here. My original point was that I thought, usually I feel like defending is usually easier. If you go through an attacking round first and you come out of it 5-7 with 5 wins and 7 losses, I usually consider that pretty good. Like, alright, that's not bad for an attacker round, because defense usually feels like it has an advantage. So when I kept winning on attack for this map, for Pearl, I thought, okay, so what Riot wants to do is Riot wants to make it so that, the attackers have more of an advantage. By spreading out the map and making it, having more winding roads from one plant site to the other, that makes it so that retake is just that much harder. But also, maybe it's designed so that retake is sort of confusing for the attackers, I guess, because they don't know which way they need to defend. But I don't know. I've only played it a few times now, but I've played it enough that I feel like my initial impression that attackers have a huge advantage was just a weird one-off. Now I feel like, honestly, it's like every other map. If you get good shots, you do what you need to do. Entry frag goes in, get a kill, take the site, plant the spike, you'll have a good attack round. And vice versa, if you're the defender, you put a good sage wall down, you buy yourself a few extra seconds while your teammates come to help, and then you get a kill on their entry fragger, maybe 2 kills right off the bat, and then suddenly it's a 5v3. So yeah, overall my impression of the map is like it's not super unbalanced for attack or defense, not in my experience anyway. I mean, that's talking as a person who plays in iron, bronze, and sometimes silver lobbies. I get matched with people who are not much higher than that, and the people I've talked to anyway. But for what it's worth, yeah, I just think that this is a decent map. It's cool, and I like the aesthetic. I don't know, people have been talking about the aesthetic a lot. I like the underwater thing. I saw the YouTube video that was accompanying it, where they do the dimensional portal jumps. I'm not going to get into the deep lore of Valorant, but I think the aesthetic is cool. I think the map is unique. It's not like something we've seen on any of the other maps. I like the fantasy aspect. It's kind of like I liked Ascent when that was the first map, because it's flying up in the air, and then now you have a map that's underwater. Because Bind and Haven, there's fantasy elements, there's like deep lore stuff hidden around, but I wanted something a little more out there. And yeah, Pearl's definitely out there. A lot of cool stuff on this map, in the background if you've got time to look at it. Of course, you don't always have, how much time do you take looking at map details, really scrutinizing every little thing whenever you're in the heat of battle? I certainly don't. But, anyway, that's just my rambling train of thought. That's all I have to say, really. Pearl, new map, fun. I like it. I don't feel like there's near as much backlash to it as when Fracture came out and everyone was hating on Fracture. People I talked to seem to like it, and I like it. So yeah, Pearl. There you go. Good map.